Yo, what is going on, guys? It is your boy Nick here, back again with a brand new video today. This is now the 7th episode of my new series in which I review every single MCU Disney Plus TV show and special up to the release of Secret Invasion. Today we're going to be reviewing Ms. Marvel Season 1. So this is one that I was actually highly anticipating watching because before this review, I'd actually never seen Ms. Marvel before, even though it came out almost a year ago now. Every other show that I've reviewed before this, I've seen at least one time before, most likely upon release. And so with Ms. Marvel, this is a show that for the past year, I've been told is really good. My mom's boyfriend, who's really into Marvel like I am, he really enjoyed it. My mom also really enjoyed it, and she's kind of like a casual Marvel fan. She doesn't keep up with all this stuff. When she sees something, she does enjoy it. And even my sister, who, again, is kind of like a casual Marvel fan, she even said yeah, Ms. Marvel's really good, you should check it out. And so this was a show that I've been anticipating for a while, and I was always planning on watching it. I just kept putting it on the back burner because I got busy with things going on in my life, and I now finally got around to watching it. And I'm happy to say that I really liked Ms. Marvel. I think it's a very good show, very entertaining. I'm really interested to see what they're going to do with this character in Marvels. And yeah, so let's talk about Ms. Marvel and why I think it's a really good show. So my favorite thing about the show, just right off the bat, coming out the gate, Iman Vellani, I hope I'm saying her name correctly, is very charming as Kamala Khan or Ms. Marvel. She really made the show for me. I thought she was just fantastic in the show. Really charming, really fun presence throughout the entire run of the show. And I looked up an interview with her before I recorded this video, and you can really tell how much she cares about this role. She's actually a big fan of Marvel in real life, a big fan of this character, a big comic book fan. And she said that for her auditions, it was a really interesting call that she got because she did the audition for it, and she did so well that the entire casting team across the board made a unanimous decision to make her make her Ms. Marvel, and they made an excellent choice doing that. I thought she was great. I loved her in this show. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with her in Marvels. I think she's perfect casting for this character. She really, really did a great job, and you can truly feel the passion that she has for this character, kind of like how you could feel the passion that Andrew Garfield had for Spider-Man. Man, they just did an excellent job casting this character. A+ job on the casting. I really enjoyed Iman Vellani. Her family is also pretty fun. They're kind of interesting because whenever we first meet her family, especially her parents, they're kind of strict. But as the show went on, I did kind of warm up to them. I think that they're a nice presence within the life of Kamala. Who I really liked was her brother, Amir. I hope I'm saying that correctly, Amir. Her brother was really funny. I really liked him. I thought he was, all the characters that are part of her family, he was my favorite. I thought he was just the most compelling of her family, and he was really funny when he was there, and I thought that there was a nice brother-sister relationship with Kamala and Amir, so I really liked him. And also, she has some fun friends as well. I thought Bruno was a nice friend. I also thought Nakia was really charming, and Kamran was a character that I didn't expect to like as much as I did. And one other character that I forgot to write down, but the one who kind of has a redemption near the end, which I won't spoil if you haven't seen the show, I ended up liking her too. I think Kamala has some really interesting friends in this show. I do kind of have some issues with not so much the writing of these characters, but the way they're portrayed in the show, which I'll get to in the flaws. But as actual just characters there to go there with Kamala and to be supporting characters, I thought they all did a great job, and they were all very fun to watch. One of the big important things about this show was the great representation for Pakistani people as well as Muslim culture. I'm really happy to see Marvel doing representation like this, and to see people of these kinds of backgrounds getting portrayed in a positive light. And I think that they really did a good job of just making you like these people and making you appreciate their culture and getting you interested in their cultural background and their religion. And I just really like the representation for these people in the show. I'm glad that it's finally happening. We do need more of that in the media, in my opinion. I just think that the way they go about it is very well done. Yeah, this show also has a beautiful use of vibrant colors. There's a whole bunch of stuff I'm going to go through. There's visual automatopoeia within the first few episodes that was very stylish and very visual appealing. I was like, oh, this is a different kind of vibe for Marvel. I thought it was really beautiful to look at. I was like, that's really cool. I like how they do that. And what I really like is whenever they do it with the texting. Because one of my biggest cliches I have with films that always bugs me is whenever they're texting and you can't see what they're doing because they have the phone down here and you're supposed to read it. So I kind of prefer it whenever they have the captions on the screen or if they're reading it out loud or something. But how in this one, it's you see someone get a text and then you'll see that Nerf gun right there. You'll see an emoji pop up on that, and it's just it's actually big enough for you to read. I thought it was a very great way to go about it. That's they're breaking the cliche, and I'm all for it. I thought that was awesome. There's also some great action sequences in this show that are very visually appealing with the CGI, and this being a show that's somewhat tied to Captain Marvel, and I'm not really going to talk all that much about Captain Marvel. One of my complaints for that movie, though, is that I kind of felt the action was not overly memorable, not really even from a choreography standpoint. It's an okay movie. I think the movie's fine. I just thought the action in it was kind of dull. The action for Ms. Marvel I thought was a lot better, and I just thought that the sequences were more memorable. There's not necessarily amazing choreography, but there's some pretty good choreography in the thing. But what really like solidified as being great action sequences was the beautiful use of CGI, great colors, great just things they're able to create using the computer generated images. I'm like, this is very visually appealing. I really like what they did. I also like the powers that this character has and what they're able to pull off in the action sequences with this character's powers. I thought it was very well done. I love the high school setting for this movie too. It reminds me a lot of Spider-Man Homecoming, which you guys will see my review for that. You know, I love that movie. So it was cool to have another high school MCU character. I guess the third now, because we have Tom Holland as Spider-Man as a high school character, and we haven't seen her in school, but America Chavez is another like Gen Z teen character, and now we have Kamala Khan, who's a Gen Z high school character. And as someone who's in Gen Z and someone who graduated high school last year, this is really cool for me to see. And I just really like this vibe that Marvel puts with the high school stuff. It feels like a breath of fresh air when they do it. And I thought that the high school vibe was a lot of fun. As a fan of Homecoming, I was all for it. There's also some really interesting exploration with Kamala, as well as like the background of her character and her family, and some interesting stuff about her that I'm not going to go too much into because I don't really want to spoil the show. But I thought that was some interesting exploration they did there. And then I do have some issues with how they kind of executed this next part, but I found the conclusion for her character arc to be pretty satisfying. The way that her character ends at the ending of the episode, when I say end, I don't mean die. She doesn't die, but the way that like the arc ends, I thought to be very satisfying. I thought it was a great little way to cap off the origin story. It made me really happy for her, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do with her in Marvels. I think she's going to do an awesome job in that movie. So although I do really like Miss Marvel, and I really do mean that, I do have some flaws with the show, and these are flaws like I do kind of feel like they do kind of weigh down the show just a little bit, but not enough to the point to where like I think negatively of the show. I don't think negatively of the show at all. The first flaw I have is that the Department of Damage Control, which is like the overall antagonist group of the show, I thought weren't as great as I thought they could have been. I thought that the lead character in it, I forget her name, but I thought she did a pretty good job, and I understand their motive for them trying to go after Kamala, but I just felt like they didn't really have as much screen time as maybe they could have, and I felt like they could have been more compelling. Instead, they kind of just felt like the government going after a kid, and I felt like they didn't make a good enough job making it compelling, not like how they do with Spider-Man. I felt like it could have been executed a lot better. We do get some cool stuff with them. We get some cool action sequences with them, which I did really enjoy, and there's a really satisfying thing that happens with the main villain of this damage control thing at the end of the show, which I loved, but I kind of just felt like it could have been better in terms of how they went about the story. I think this is probably my biggest complaint for the show, is that the show takes a little bit of a detour in the middle of the season. So the first 2 episodes I really dug. It was setting up this like cool like origin story for Kamala, and then episode 3 we kind of see some stuff go down. I'm like, okay, this is kind of different, but like, this is really cool. I really like this. And then episode 4 and 5 kind of went in this whole different direction that like almost felt a little bit out of left field. Not because I thought it was bad or anything. I actually thought it was pretty interesting. Like I have written down, it is interesting, but it feels somewhat out of left field. And this is all stuff where I'm like, I like this, and this is interesting. I think that for the context of the character, I get it. But I kind of felt like we were going like here, and then we kind of went on like a detour kind of like this. And then we finally got back on track in episode 6. So there was like a 2-episode detour where I was kind of like, I really like this, and this is cool. But I felt like we didn't need to go here just yet. I kind of felt like they could have either had a few more episodes to maybe like build up to this and then go like back around it and through, and it would have felt a lot more cohesive. Or I feel like they could have honestly saved it for a second season, and they could have put that out like right before the Marvels or something. I mean, the actual story that they do themselves with this detour, I don't have a problem with. I'm like, okay, this is well made, it's well told, I like it, but I kind of just felt like it didn't feel cohesive with what we were being set up with within episodes 1, 2, and 3. So that's kind of like my biggest complaint with the show. It doesn't ruin my enjoyment of the show at all. It just makes it feel a little bit, incohesive in terms of its flow. So that's really my biggest issue with the show. My other kind of thing I have listed down, this is my last complaint, is that although I do like the supporting characters, as I mentioned, and I feel like they all get outshined by Iman Vellani, and I'm not sure if that's just the fact that Iman Vellani does such a great job in the show that everyone else just pales in comparison, or if it's just the fact that the writing could have helped out a little bit. Because one of the things I liked about every other Disney Plus show thus far is that there was a main character, but there was also a really cool supporting character, and then there was also like a really cool villain to help kind of like counterbalance it. Like Wanda was the main character of WandaVision. Well, I guess you could count Vision in there too. And Wanda and Vision worked well off of each other. And then you had a character like Agatha, who was a great counterbalance. Falcon and the Winter Soldier had the Flag Smashers and Zemo as a counterbalance. Loki had Sylvie and Mobius to help counterbalance it. Hawkeye had Kate Bishop and Echo. And then Moon Knight had Layla, and Arthur Harrow. So these are all like shows I felt like had a nice counterbalance when it came to having a hero, a supporting character, and a villain. This is the show where I feel like the hero stole the show, and that's not a bad thing. As I said, I really like this character and I really love the performance, but I kind of just felt like there needed to be that counterbalance of having a better villain, and I feel like maybe had the supporting characters had like, because they're all kind of like, we got multiple supporting characters, so there may have been like one who outshined the rest of them, and there been like a better villain, I feel like the show probably would have felt a lot more counterbalanced out better, and so it does kind of feel a little bit odd because of that, but aside from that, I think the show is really good. I think it's probably as good as maybe we could have gotten. I don't know, like I do have issues with the show, and I feel like it could have been better in terms of its structure and in terms of some of the story stuff, but I think overall Miss Marvel is a really good show. I did really enjoy it. It has an amazing lead character in Kamala Khan. I can't wait to see what they do with it in Marvels. I'm really anticipating Marvels now that I've seen this show. And even with some of the more frustrating elements, it still is a pretty good show, and I would recommend it. I'm going to give it an overall rating of an 8.8 out of 10. Very entertaining, minus some of the frustrating aspects of the story, and I'm going to give it an overall grade of an A-. I think for the way I had the Disney Plus shows out, I have Hawkeye being my favorite, and I think WandaVision's a close second, and I think I'll probably go Moon Knight, and I think Miss Marvel will go comfortably in the middle of the 6 other shows, and I think below it I would have Loki, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and What If. All 7 of these shows that I reviewed are shows I enjoy. I kind of just feel like that's how I would go about it. I feel like Miss Marvel just sits comfortably in the middle of it. And so there are some frustrating elements, but it is a really good show that I do recommend checking out if you haven't seen it. So that was my review for Miss Marvel. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I'm going to have some other reviews coming out in the next few weeks. Next week, I'm not reviewing She-Hulk next week. I'm actually going to be reviewing the shorts for I Am Groot. Probably going to be a short video. I'm not entirely sure what to expect with these little shorts, but I'm reviewing it because it is technically part of this. I will have a review for She-Hulk in 2 weeks, so I will review that, and that's another one I haven't seen, so we'll see how I feel about that. I will also have a review for Morbius next week, and then the week after that I will go and see Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I can't wait to review that. And yesterday I posted a video where I did a spoiler review for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. If you've seen the movie, I highly recommend checking that review out, and if you haven't seen the movie, you can check out my spoiler-free review. If you guys want to check out these videos, I really appreciate it. If you want to support the channel, make sure that you hit the like button, and feel free to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified of my latest videos. Also, you can go click the link in my description to go follow me on Twitch, Instagram, and TikTok, because I post a lot of content over there. Thank you guys so much as always for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and yeah, that's been it. Peace!